Hey, hi, hello, divas. How are ya? I hope y'all are doing well. I just wanted to pop in real quick just to say that this episode is gonna be like one of the ones where I'm gonna skip out on all of the what am I catching up with me solo stuff. Go straight to I Want to Know Diva just because this week is another one of those weeks where the guest that I have and I had a wonderful conversation that was pretty lengthy. So I figured I'm just gonna throw a little bit on the top here just to say hi to y'all and give you the rundown. I know I haven't been super consistent with the format, but it's my show. I make the rules. But that being said, I do want to thank y'all for listening and for supporting me again. And just wanted to let you know again to, rate and send to your friends and review if you're listening on Apple, like all that good stuff. I love seeing all your reviews and seeing all of y'all share on threads and all that good stuff. But yeah, I know. Oh, and the buy me a coffee, all that good stuff. That's buymeacoffee.com/diva, just like the name of the show. Buymeacoffee.com/YKNOWDIVA. Y'all know the drill. But yeah, I just this guest that I have is great and has a fascinating story to tell, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Thanks again, and I'm just gonna go probably listen to the Brat Deluxe Edition like 4 more times now. Okay, bye, Diva. Alrighty, hey, hi, hello, divas. Welcome back to another segment of I Want to Know Diva, the portion of the podcast where I bring on a guest, a friend, whoever, to come and just gab with me about their passion, their topic, whatever the hell they want. And this week I have a very exciting guest, someone we all know of in the Threadverse, I'm sure. I mean, I've seen him around since the beginning, but hello, Mr. Brad Foster. Hello.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be
Thank
here.
you so
I'm
much.
happy to be recognized as one of the originals,
I
even
mean,
though my little card says otherwise.
well, I mean, I say original, but like, I mean, I remember, like, you're one of the first people that I remember following or like seeing in
Yeah.
the zeitgeist. So original to
Well,
me.
most of the people that started off on Threads have burnt out already, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
Especially as
like
of
those
late.
original people, yeah.
I know. I know, but
Everyone's been burning out lately too, and I don't understand it. Maybe people put a lot more into Threads than I do
maybe.
emotionally.
Maybe. I'm just vibing, but thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to chat with you, especially about like this topic that you're gonna be telling me about. It's very interesting. What are we chatting about?
My years and years as a fashion publicist, I haven't opened up about this in a long time either.
Ah, that is so cool. And I know like just when you mentioned that, like I got very my ears perked up at that because I was like, ooh, fashion. How did you find yourself into that world? What was your entry point for that?
How it is so weird how well, first off, I was a publicist, and I don't know if people know what a publicist is or isn't.
Let's fill them in.
We're evil.
Evil.
Okay, we're evil. We're evil. We control everything that you see about everything. And we fight with each other to get the space so that you see what we want you to see.
Ah,
I started off, I fell into it when I was like, I used to sell swing sets and I was like
swing sets.
17 or 18. Yeah, man, it was like during the housing bubble. So all these rich people would come in and buy these like huge swing sets from me. And I ended up getting fired from the job because I made too much money. So I went to this temp. Yeah, oh man, I made like, I still don't think I've topped my salary that I made when I was 18. They were giving me like 10% commissions and I was like
I
I'm gonna
mean,
wail on these people.
they said too
But
much
then I
money
went
off
to
the
a
swing sets. No more.
oh my God, yeah. Yeah. And I ended up going to a temp agency and I got this little job that I thought was easy as hell and it was doing something called press clippings.
Okay.
And what press clippings are is basically anything you see in a magazine, newspaper, online, it has this value attached to it
Okay.
where they can say, well, we have click-through rates, all of this marketing stuff, right? So someone gets paid minimum wage. They collect all of the stuff for a company that you've put out. They put it in these packages and they mail them to the company. Or this is how it was done way back. Now there's digital PDFs
Sure.
and everything. I'm sure that you can do it. So I did that for like 2 summers and I was like, this is an easy as hell job. And I went to school in northern New Jersey and I ended up interning at this small little company, and I had no idea they were a fashion brand, like
Just
or a
stumbled in.
fashion boutique. Oh, I just stumbled in. It was like a girl I tried to date, like that I failed miserably, and she rejected me and ended up going for my roommate.
Oh no.
She got me a job though,
Well,
and
hey.
I was like, I walked into this job, and I'm like, what am I going to be doing? And they're like, oh, press clippings. But then it was like, hey, so we have this restaurant chain that we think that like you're really, I was 6'5". I was pretty handsome back in the day.
Yeah.
My sexuality has always been questioned and
Who
I never let
cares?
anyone know just because that's how I see
Yeah.
it. It doesn't matter. I like what I like. And unless you're a part of it, I don't really care.
Exactly that.
But it was like being in that agendered kind of very feminine guy that they just wanted me in the room. So all of a sudden, I'm in the room with like these guys that own hotels and pizza chains, and then this fashion like magazine is coming in and like doing these spreads on my boss, and I'm like,
Whoa.
I love this shit. So I finished school. I have no idea what I'm gonna do, and I'm living in a nature preserve because my parents kicked me out at 16.
Okay, whoa.
And-
A
yeah,
nature preserve.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not gonna give away the name, and I
Oh,
don't like
sure.
to give
Yeah, no,
away
you
too much information on myself. But
yeah.
yeah, I've been an outdoorsman. It's the reason why I stayed in good shape and
Wow.
all
Okay.
this masculine guy stuff that I have to put on a face for.
Sure.
And I remember like a week beforehand, I'd gotten bitten by a snake and I ended up in the
Oh
emergency
my
room.
God.
And then my buddy calls me and goes, "Hey man, um, I got this internship. I've been in he was in IT, and he was like, but it's for Maidenform. Do you know who they are?" And I was like, "No." I looked it up and I was like, "I'm gonna be a bra and panty publicist." I was like, "This is the greatest
Hell
thing that
yeah.
could ever happen to me." And I started this crazy, I guess in total I was in fashion for hardcore. I was in fashion for like 5 years. I made my mark and got out. But at the end of it, I did fashion and celebrity stuff. And
So
I
cool.
don't talk about the celebrity
I'm
stuff.
sure.
The celebrity stuff is like,
I'm sure that there's some
there's still,
I was thinking I was like, I'm sure there's
yeah,
NDAs or if not like other
that's
things. I'm
it.
sure there's all sorts of
It,
things in place with that. We won't touch that.
it was evil. It was evil, but fashion was slightly less evil. Slightly less evil.
Evil. That word choice is so interesting.
Well, I mean, so it was the beginning of fast fashion
Uh-huh.
when I first started off, right? And I didn't realize how bad it was for, let's say, the environment
Sure.
or the
Working
workers
conditions,
or
yeah.
any of that. So one thing that I do admit to, and I talk about it pretty openly now, was I kept a factory in Bangladesh open that was using child labor.
Oh,
I'm super
hold
proud of
on. I
myself.
think we
It's
might
why
be
I put
losing
my,
you.
yeah.
Oh, hold up.
Oh,
I
okay.
lost you for a
Oh,
second. I'm no, I'm
okay.
sure it's still recorded, but I just missed what you said. So
Okay.
like it was a fact, something about a factor. You said that you admit to it and you were about to say
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Ah, that's it. They're doxing. They still are on my phone. They're still on my
How
phone.
dare.
Uh, and this is when you get to a higher level in any publicist job, you start doing things that you're not proud
Sure.
of, which is one of the reasons why I left the industry. I was really good at it though. I was like really good at doing evil things, but there was a factory that we knew we were using
Uh-huh.
because child labor is cheap.
Uh,
And yeah, sorry, man.
well,
I mean, a lot of kids died because of me, but this is, if it makes you feel better, I put myself into isolation for 8 years in Vermont where everyone hated me.
wow.
I took a job with a yeah, I paid my penance for what I did in my own head so I can sleep at night. But
Wow.
what a publicist does is let's say an editor is trying to make their bag and they find out about that factory.
Okay.
Well, let's say there's another competitor that buys your patterns. Let's say you're doing, you know, anything in fashion. And a lot of people don't know this, that there's licensing agreements in the back. So like Shein may never even make their own designs. They may just buy it
Oh,
from
sure.
another
Yeah.
company that has it out
Yeah.
there. So let's say one of those companies, is buying buying the licenses and everything, and they're coming in and you're having meetings with them and you find out, let's say, that they're dumping chemical dyes into the drinking
Ugh.
water nearby your factory that uses child labor. And you sort of look at what's the hotter topic right now, which is the eco everything saving the planet was a hotter topic. So when we got caught using child labor, uh, I let them know about one of our competitors,
Oh,
and that took over the news
I
cycle.
mean, that's
So one of
that's
the,
about what I mean, that makes I mean, it's horrible, but it makes sense. Like, thinking about, like, even, like, being on the receiving end of, like, a news cycle, that makes sense.
yeah,
There's always, like,
yeah,
pointing fingers at the next big thing.
that's it. And it's if you can feed the beast before it eats you, you walk away scot free. Now I did that, and like I also, dated and went out with young women who controlled like the new product
Uh,
sections. I was used. I was used because I don't know why.
uh,
It was
uh,
girls have a height fetish in that industry. I don't know.
man, I don't know, but yeah, sorry to hear that you were used in that way,
It's
but that's
well, you know what? It made me very successful because I would, let's say, go out with a editor of a new product section for Cosmo Girl, and then 2 weeks later or three, they plan out actually everything like a few months in advance. But a few months later, like all of a sudden, the shoe company that I'm working for is in Cosmo Girl, and they're paying me huge amounts of money because I did that for them.
networking. I mean, they aren't fucking
Yeah.
kidding when they say, like, it's all about who you know, like, it's
Oh,
networking is wow.
it's massive. Like I was do people know the difference, do you think, between like still life photo shoots and lifestyle photo
I
shoots?
mean,
I
maybe,
feel
but
like
you
your listeners pretty well.
maybe, but you can I mean, the layman's terms, like, you can just, like, a very quick, like, if you just wanna give the little
Okay.
difference rundown.
St Still life is like just your products. It's in a mold. They Photoshop the mold out so it's just what your products are supposed to look like, best fit. Lifestyle is all the branding and everything behind it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like your product on 9 women in the middle of what's actually a green screen that later on they Photoshop a beach scene or
Right.
something into, right? So those would be like massive chances for and the entire industry of fashion is run by who you
Oh,
know
yeah.
and who you run into. There's a weird social hierarchy, and I climbed to like I was I was one step under the director of marketing for the first company I worked for,
Wow.
or one step under publicity. So like I worked in 6 or 7 different countries. So when people found out that this was running this, all of a sudden there was a lot of people who wanted to get to know me. So it was super weird.
They
Like
saw the face and they said, "Oh, that's who we have to cozy
it's
up next to."
they they saw the business card. They never saw the salary because my salary was low. But being able to hand out a business card that like I worked for a lot of different companies and I was a freelancer after my first 3 or 4 years working for Maidenform. Um, but like I was doing capsule collect. I've done a million things and I don't even know how to organize it properly,
Wow.
like in my head. But you go from like all the editorial stuff. You can also be putting together like I put together their 90th anniversary. So the company had been around for 90
Damn.
years. So I built a college program, went to SUNY Binghamton, I think.
Okay.
Binghamton had won a contest of a video, and then that day I just measured girls for new bras and
Oh,
handed out free products all day.
and that was
That
your
was my day.
gig.
It's the beginning of my career was wonderful.
Wow.
for a young red-blooded man being around. Everyone was beautiful except for me. In my
Oh,
head,
whatever.
I'm a
But
huge ogre. But oh my God, it was like if you didn't question your sexuality before,
there's just all the
even
beautiful
like the
people.
photographers, you have this Italian guy who's part of the Coppola family who's touching you, and you're like, all right, man.
Sure.
Okay. Sure, why the fuck not? Like, there's no reason
I
not to.
mean,
It's only gonna further my career.
wow. I was gonna say, it's like
Yeah,
what like
it's
is it like a I imagine like especially when you're young, the start of your career, like intoxicating, like just all of it. I would imagine like the
it
beautiful people, like the opportunities, the like immediate success that you're seeing, like
it blows your any mental illness you have is gonna get 20 times more explicit.
wow.
Like that's the way people ask like why I left all of this stuff. It turns out I'm a little bit of a megalomaniac and probably a narcissist somewhere deep down. And when you have all of those things fed to you and you're in an echo chamber, you become a really bad person if you don't watch yourself.
Mm.
And I was young and unregulated with no family.
Oh, wow. So it was
So I
just
just wanted everyone to love me.
and you were in a it sounds like you were in an environment where it was not super great for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
it
mean,
was
great,
super great because
but
it
also not great. Like, great until it wasn't.
not great. And let's feed him until he burns out and moves to Vermont. Like but it was I look back at it and I learned a lot. I learned how to make myself more famous, I guess I'd say. I got to work with I worked with Uniqlo, I worked with Hot Topic,
Yeah.
the plus size stuff I worked with Torrid. God,
The one that you mentioned that I was
working with Hot
excited to ask about was, like, the Intimates collection for Karl Lagerfeld or Jaegerfield, however I how did correct my pronunciation if I'm butchering the hell out of that.
Okay, Lagerfeld.
Lagerfeld.
He is Karl
Yeah.
Lagerfeld is like he was like number one. And I don't even know if he was alive or not at the time that they were launching it, right? But he had fought with like five or six different intimates companies, and all of them said like, "Hey man, we got the company for you. Okay? It's Maidenform. We know it sounds crazy, but they do the patterns, and I'm not gonna dox that for that company and, and what company got hit dumping dye in rivers,
Yeah.
but we had several companies that we worked with, and the ones I can talk about is Donna Karan specifically, which is $150 price point for their gold latches on their bras alone.
Wow.
So I was in the really high end couture, what as far as intimates go, considered pretty couture at the time.
I mean,
So
if the gold if the hardware of it was actual gold, is it like that's
oh, the middle class, all of the middle openers, were actual gold at that time.
Lux.
And so I don't get told anything, right? So they're like, Brad, we want you to be a fly on the wall, right? We're not gonna tell you who's in this room. And I still am unsure because Karl Lagerfeld is an 80-year-old man with long white hair who wears sunglasses and gloves everywhere.
Yeah.
So even if he was dead, they could just put someone else in that
They could
costume, right?
Weekend at Bernie's him in, or yeah, anyone could be.
That that's what I feel like they did to me. But I walked in and I was so far back because I grew up really poor, fashion, couture. This was all a different world for me. And part of the reason why I was successful is because I was never impressed by anyone. But I should have been impressed by Karl Lagerfeld. I mean, I should have known that's like 101 being in the industry.
Like, at the time,
So
like a living
I,
legend, like, at the time that he
yeah.
yeah.
So I walked in and I assumed the old guy with the gloves and and the sunglasses and everything on. I'm like, I just assume he's some guy,
Oh,
like maybe someone's
oh
dad
my
or
god.
something. So I walk in and just like I'm number two at this point. I'm in a $5,000 suit. I'm like looking clean and crisp, and I'm under 180 pounds because I probably have an eating disorder.
Oh, man.
And but I look great, and I walk in and I turn to my boss and I loudly say, "Who's the asshole with the sunglasses on?" And
Uh-uh.
she immediately kicks me out of the room. The CEO goes, hold on, I'm gonna go take care of this. The CEO comes and yells at me publicly, like in the hallway, so that they can. Oh, I lost one earbud. Do I have another one?
I
Can
can
you
still
still
hear
hear
you,
me?
yeah. I
Okay,
got
cool.
you.
So the CEO is pulled me out into the hallway where he's screaming at me publicly, so this guy feels better, says I'm fired. And
Oh, I lost you. Oh, wait, no, I'm back. You're back again. That was weird. I got you back.
okay, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna be a pain in the butt for editing, huh?
You're fine.
Uh, okay. So he's yelling at me in a hallway, and then at the end, he's like, "All right, get back in there." And it's this team of lawyers and fashion pub. I mean, I don't know if it was actually the guy, but he
Whoa.
comes in with his full team, and our team was like four people, and you can't have an empty seat there for looks. So I sit down and I sit down quietly, and the entire time, no one's making eye contact with me. And this is like a 2 hour meeting. And at the end of it,
Oh
we're
my
going over
god.
some designs that they're interested in. There's like specific laces that we were able to source, um, that you couldn't find in other places. So we were going over what we could do with the laces, padded or unpadded, whatever, the entire line.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the guy looks at me and goes like, so, what's the idiot without the sunglasses think? And I'm like,
Oh my god.
"Mm." And I see like my boss. She was wonderful. She's the nicest. She was the best mentor you could ask for in life. And she looks at me like, okay, all right, you didn't screw that up. So let's see if you can not screw this up.
It was like,
And,
here's your chance.
man, long story short, we didn't get Karl Lagerfeld. We did not
Oh
win that
no.
contract because I think that, I was an ass at the time, and I told him that I feel like his look was old. Not him, but like what he wanted to do for designs and trying to capture a market. It just wasn't right. His idea of what people wanted versus what people were actually buying was different
It
because I was
didn't
working
match
with
up.
yeah, I was working with department store brands, not high-end couture. So I knew what was gonna sell in high volume. I didn't know necessarily what a I didn't know many people under the age of 40 that were millionaires or that had a lot of
Sure.
money that would buy this stuff. So I basically blew it. And they
Ah,
were really upset with me after that. Really upset with me, but
I'm
it's
sure,
okay
but
because
like that wasn't what caused you to lose your job though?
no, they sold the company to Haynes. Me and like five other people turned that company around in like 3 or 4 years. We turned it around and just enough for them to sell it to Haynes. And because I was technically on the books a freelancer so that I could do other stuff at night and I could
Yeah.
go have other clients and stuff because I was starting into some celebrity stuff at night. I was starting into some political stuff after I proved what I could do with the Bangladesh situation. So because I was technically a freelancer, they didn't even give me a severance.
Oh, damn.
So I left that company and I was homeless for like 8 months because I went into TV production for a while. And then I got back into PR once I'd met a couple of pretty high
Wow.
profile celebrity clients that I had run into in comedy clubs and stuff. And when I explained to them, hey, this is not how I make my money. I make my money being a publicist. They went, okay. And then I ended up in another building. But the good thing was I was able to bring
Wow.
and work with even bigger fashion clients. Like I was getting way bigger clients at that point. Like working for Hot Topic was like the
That's
coolest
huge.
thing ever. It
Yeah.
was the coolest thing ever. I love myself some goths.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Uh,
and the Hot Topic, that's like, I mean, everyone knows everyone knows Hot
that's
Topic.
that's it. And it's not like I was so burnt out from like, and I'm still working at that time with like these Italian fashion brands and these like high-end luggage. I'm working with all these other couture people that I was like, I was a nerdy 16-year-old that came into Hot Topic, and all of a sudden the CEO is and Lisa Stanley. Yeah, I can give out her name at the time. I don't give a shit if she gets doxxed. Lisa Stanley and my entire I'm working for another PR company that I'm not gonna dox as a freelancer, and they did the entire Hot Topic thing wrong. Like
Oh,
they were trying to they were like, we're gonna make Hot Topic couture, and I was like, you're gonna screw up
that
30
you're gonna run
years.
Hot Topic into the ground if you do
Yeah,
that.
what you're gonna do. So I like targeted all these college newspapers and stuff and got huge results. And then they were like, okay, we don't want you to my boss. They were like, we don't want you running Torrid because Torrid, Hot Topic, they own a bunch of different brands under their umbrella.
Oh, I didn't
And
realize that Torrid was also part of the Hot Topic.
yeah,
That's
it's a weird
interesting.
one. It's a weird one.
Yeah. I
But
mean, 'cause
the
I
this
knew about ones like with like what is it, limited brands, like where it's like Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret are like owned by the same people.
yeah,
Like I do like that one and whoever else they have, but I didn't know about Torrid
I
and Hot
think
Topic.
I
That's an interesting combo.
yeah, I think the biggest one people don't know about, and this is a trick for people who shop sample sales because I am a sample sale boy. I am poor now. If you find out the major brand above the brand you're looking for, so like for me, the go-to is always PVH, which is Phillips Van Heusen, which you think suits and everything, but they own like 90, probably 90% of the consumer fashion
Oh
world.
wow.
So if you look for like a Phillips Van Heusen sample sale, you'll end up getting like all of their umbrella brands,
Hmm.
and you'll be able to walk away with some really nice stuff for 25% of it.
Nice. I don't know if
But
I've ever
yeah,
been to a sample sale. That sounds like
oh my
something
God.
that I would be very interested in
Oh my
finding.
God.
Like I've been to like
L-
outlet stores and stuff, but like I'm sure that that's not the same thing. Like that's
Outlets are the step before the sample sale. Okay,
okay.
so sample sale is like ill-fitting stuff, like maybe it doesn't
Oh,
fit the
okay.
cuts, the original stuff, stuff that doesn't sell, stuff that's held in our closets that we normally give out to people, or we use a lot of stuff for trades. You're getting sort of the industry stuff. It's really
Gotcha.
actually pretty cool. Is you search through bins and stuff, but you're getting like you can get some like I have a suit that was worth a lot of money and I only paid about $2,000 for it at the time.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's these, the brands that that are all under these umbrellas. I was working for Torrid when influencers started popping up.
Oh
And
boy, what a time. What a time to be in that space that you like that you were working in, like at the birth of influencers.
and at the time I was mean. That's the only way to put it. I was really mean. And when influencers started talking to me, I was so mean to them. I was just like, I don't care about you. I don't care what your brand is. Show me your numbers or get out of my face.
I
Like,
mean, because I mean, at that point, you're used to because at the time of influencers, like you've worked with celebrities and bigger brands, and like,
and I've done photo shoots that I've seen the stuff that I helped direct with a creative director on billboards. I've seen stuff on TV that my hands are on. And all of a sudden, you're telling me this guy with 20,000 Instagram followers is important, or this model that we found on a casting contest that ended up having blogs were still considered influencers in this thing. Yeah,
blogs. Okay.
blogs. So like blogs, like I'm gonna write and put 5 pictures of myself up, and I was like, how am I supposed to take this stuff serious? I was kicked out
How
of the
very
industry.
Sex in the City. Like,
Is it?
yeah, Carrie Bradshaw runs up like a blog
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Okay,
somehow makes a
exactly.
living in New York City.
That's complete. She was doing stuff. She was doing stuff at night that didn't end up on the TV show. But I was just like, how am I, like this was like the influencers. I'll put it to you this way. No one knew who the Paul brothers were at that time. They were still Disney kids, basically.
Oh yeah.
So
Wow.
like,
Well, because like
I,
that was like before Vine then even, or was Vine like
it was
because
right as Vine was starting. That's right. To put it into
fascinating.
perspective, it was just as, I don't know if you know this one, it was just as the Vine house opened up. in LA, there's a street, it's Vine Street, and what they would
Oh,
do is rich dudes would buy houses and they would put 10 creators for Vine in there, let them live for free, and they would pump out content
ah,
and they would take the
this.
money.
And I mean that concept definitely continued on through. I'm sure that I mean it's that shit still goes on, but I'm sure. But
Oh, constantly. They just went through it with dance TikTokers. There's a documentary about the guy that was doing it. I haven't looked at it because I'm afraid I'm gonna see evil people that I remember.
oh no, can't watch the exposés. You might open up old wounds.
Yeah, I guess like it took me a long time to even get to the point where I could talk about some of the stuff I did like this. This is freeing for me.
Well, I mean, I
I,
appreciate you sharing with me, but like it is fascinating. Like,
uh, I mean, I binge watched your content. I listened to everything that you had put out that I could get a hold of, and I was incredibly impressed with you.
oh, well, thank
And
you.
I was just like, well, what can we find as equals together? And I was like, fashion, my love of
I
drag. Like, yeah,
oh
this is gonna be easy.
yeah. Well, cause like, I mean, that's a perfect little segue. Cause I know one of the things you mentioned when we were chatting about, like, what topic to cover was, like, how your experience with this fashion PR stuff, like, kind of affected your own personal style, and, like, I know you
Oh,
mentioned, like, masculinity and, like, toxic masculinity and, like, classic men's style or fashion, or I'm dying to hear more about that, like.
so I came into my jobs not as a publicist. I was a dirty farm kid. I sold swing sets was like the highest. I
Mhm.
thought that was going to be the end of my career. I thought that's what I was going to be doing for the
Well, you
rest of
said
my
you were making
life.
a shit ton of money doing it,
Oh my
so
God, I still to this day I'm shocked. I lived off of the money. You make no money when you start off in PR, right? You make no money for like 5 years. I just lived off of my swing set money for those 5 years, and people were like, "How can you afford to be in these places and do this stuff?" And I'm like,
swing sets,
"The
man.
swing sets, man. The minimum one I sold was $5,000. They started at $5,000 and went up.
Ah, wow.
So
So you're selling
so
swing sets, and then like so
ah,
you're and then
and then
you
I end
find
up
yourself.
in yeah, and so like I wore a lot of Kohl's.
Sure.
Like,
I wear a
that
lot of
was,
Kohl's to this day.
yeah, I mean, it's nice. But that wasn't acceptable. And, my boss helped me learning a little bit of stuff about, taking my stuff to a tailor. I'm 6'5". Um, little stuff. But then all of a sudden, like Mad Men gets big, right?
Mm,
Like they get huge and they go, well, we're gonna work with this woman, Janie Bryant. She is a Texan. She is the fashion. She's a costume designer for Mad Men.
very
Um,
cool.
we really want to work with her and have her because we did all the underpinnings for like Christina Hendricks. We
Mm,
did all of the women in that show. Me personally. I was the one that did all of their underwear. I'm the one that sent it out. I picked and pulled everything for them. I made
very
suggestions
cool.
on, yeah, because we did a lot of shapewear too. So Christina Hendricks is an hourglass, but you need some help with it too sometimes,
Oh, sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm
Make
working
the
with this.
garments fit the way that they should and lay the way they should. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every woman, what people don't understand is women's bodies change throughout the month, right? And
Sure.
they don't on camera.
Right.
So how you
It
gonna make that work?
Yeah. I mean, bodies in general change. Like even with guy like you see like the washboard abs, like the ripped dudes, like they only look like that for like the
The
15
photo.
minute the 10-15 minutes they're shooting. They don't look.
Listen, they're still very attractive.
Oh,
The six
absolutely.
pack goes away,
Oh,
but you
for
still want to just
sure.
lick their stomach for
Oh,
45
sure.
minutes. Like they.
Sure, sure, sure. No, but it's like they're not like that like chiseled
No.
for like and they're gonna go drink a bottle
Veins.
of water
Yeah.
and eat like eat a little
Yeah.
snack and they're gonna like
It's
bloat out a
gone.
little bit. Yeah.
It's gone, or their veins bulge out because they're not used to having blood sugar that levels. That was something that I learned for like the super muscular photo shoots. was those guys would walk in, they wouldn't drink any water, they wouldn't eat for like 48 hours before, and then
Mhm.
they'd eat like a slice of pizza or they'd eat something unhealthy and the blood sugar, it does something with your insulin, makes your veins bulge. So it's unnatural how they get it, but they get it that way. But
I
I
didn't know about
digress.
that part with, like, the eating the bad food or the junk not bad food, like, the more, junky food to
Yeah.
kickstart the veins. I didn't know that part. I knew about the whole, like, not drinking water and, like, not eating to, like, get really, like,
Oh,
like, kinda
they
like
they've gotten to the point where they take like I still have it somewhere. I forget the name of it. They control your weight no matter who you are in that industry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's a sodium something that you take and it actually floods out your intestines.
Oh
It sucks
gosh.
all the water out of your cells, but you look great for like 24 hours. You look mm.
That's
Um
enough time, I guess, to go make your shoot your scene, like, do
that's
your
what it
photo
is.
shoot, like
Um
but anyhow, so, like, yeah, your style is Kohl's, and then, like, you get it
it's cold, and then this woman comes in to talk to us, and like I'm not, I'm on my way to being number two at this point, right? So like I get a quick introduction. She goes into my boss's office. So there and they're talking, and I'm like, oh God, this is the hands behind Mad Men. This is the hands behind all men's fashion and women's retro fashion. I was like super impressed. And she walks out and she hands, we worked with her on a book called The Fashion File. You should look at it, men and women
Okay,
alike. You should read The Fashion
the
File
fashion
if you can.
file.
And she looks at me, she's from Texas. I think Texas, she's Southern. She grabs my hands and she says, "You are a beautiful, beautiful baby, but none of this is working." And I was like,
Oh,
she
that
goes,
is such a
"Are
Tex I'm from Texas, and that's a Texan thing to say.
is
Yeah.
it?" And
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, like what's not working? And she was like, this. She was like, the
She's like
visage, everything I have in front of me is not what you are. She said,
Oh,
I will
wow.
be back tomorrow because I have more meetings and I want you to look your best. I want you to try and impress me. So I came in the next day and like fully shaved, not eating before she gets there, like
Oh, wow.
living off of fucking coffees for the past, and just the nicest suit that I have, which is like I think at that time it was like a Polo Ralph Lauren or something,
Okay.
and I dressed and the shoulders were off, like I don't know what I'm doing. It's that classical. My father always taught me if you walk into a party and you're wearing black or blue and you see other men in black or blue, you know you've dressed right.
Okay.
And when the next day she looks at that and she goes, "Okay, who taught you how to dress?" And I explained that to her. She goes, "That is the trap of masculinity." She
Oop.
said, "That is where you're falling." And I said, "Okay, what is
The
what's going
trap
on
of
then?" And she said,
masculinity.
"Well, how comfortable are you in your own skin?" And I was like, I am not. I have no idea who I am at this point. I am probably a budding sociopath at that point because I'm starting to get big. I have no idea what costume I'm supposed to wear. And
Mm.
she goes, no. She goes, I'm not going to have this. Like, and she works with me on men's fashion of taking like classical cuts that work for your body,
Mhm.
um, spending a little bit less on your clothing and taking it to a tailor, um, hints of silver. She was the first one that said to me wearing silver was very bisexual. She was
Oh,
like, I just want to let you know. She goes, I'm not gonna, she was like, I'm not gonna try and impress anything on you. It's none of my business, but I see your eyes.
just so you know, Diva,
And she goes, I
silver.
just want you to know. She said, don't fall into the baby bisexual, thumb ring trap. She said, I want you to wear jewelry. Like she showed me how putting little hints of stuff, avoid that traditional trap of the bulky, square, high pant, ultra masculine, this stuff that we were fed for years and years. And she gets me into slim cuts. She starts telling me to taper my waist a little bit more in my
Yeah.
jacket so I have a little bit of a flare. She's the one that starts telling me like play with your collars. She was like, you
Just
don't have to have this. She was like, you don't need any of these standard Kohl's collars. She was like, you're beautiful. She was like,
like
you
you
need
should
to
play with it.
play. She was like, how many different collar types do you know? And I was like, one. And she was like,
This
mm-mm,
one.
mm-mm, mm-mm-mm. So I'm getting like those 1920s Peaky Blinders style ones on me.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
putting I'm putting little Victorian where the top button gets turned, you put a jewel over it, or you put like
Ooh,
yeah, so I'm doing like that all of a sudden.
pretty.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I was like, I feel so pretty compared
I
to what I
love
used
that.
to. She told me there's ways to honor your family in it. So like, I'll wear stag horns or I'll wear, like, four-leaf clovers or,
Okay.
she shows me jewelry. She shows me underwear for men, which was super uncomfortable, super awkward to
Yeah,
have
I
that
mean,
conversation, but like, no one, no
no one
one
talks about
has
the
that.
fun and sexy underwear that men can have.
It's not even the fun and sexy. It's the I can see those lines through your pants and your pants are
Oh,
saggy on you.
oh,
That's
yeah, that too.
unacceptable.
That
Yeah.
too.
Um, so I'm having these, and it took her like 2 months with me. She was like, I am so tempted to just get you a personal shopper because you are not learning. I was like, I'm learning, I'm just uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And but she has the patience of a Baptist minister. She's so sweet with me.
that's
Everyone is
wonderful.
family. And she works on me for months and months and months until we develop. I mean, I used to call it my armor, right?
Yeah,
Like I used to wear this stuff and I would be like, this is who I am. And this is what I want the world to see and this is what my future is, even though I'm not there yet. Like she's
you're
taught
dressing for
me
the job you want type of deal.
more so, I'm dressing as a lifestyle brand, which is myself.
Uh-huh.
She made me understand how men avoid expression because we're so ruthless with one another.
Mm.
We make fun of each other and anyone that's even slightly different in everything, you're gonna take some shit from people, right? You're gonna take flack. And she was the first one to be like, it doesn't matter. She was like, sachet. She was
Hell
she
yeah.
also
I
she's
like
also the
her.
one that yeah, she's also the one that taught me how to walk in heels. So
A very important skill.
that's it's come in handy a surprising amount of times in my life as a non-drag queen.
Yeah, I mean, I can walk in a nice pair of 6-inch stiletto platforms. I can do it. That
Six.
that yeah, if my
Ooh,
back my drag days, that was like my default heel was a 5-incher. Like if it was like yeah, Bridget wore heels. Like
wow.
that I didn't fuck around. It was like if it was 5-inch if there was no platform, and then if there was a platform they were 6-inchers for the most part. Yeah.
That's
Because
I
they
think
had
the
like the one
highest I
inch
got was
platform.
like 3 or 4 inches. I never
Oh,
hit top tier.
oh yeah, no, but I wasn't wearing anything special either. I was, it was pleasers, the tried and true, like the hooker shoes, the stripper boots, and that, and
The
only
ribbons that
maker.
go up the ribbons that go up the calves kind.
Yeah, yeah, or
Yeah.
just like your typical, just like the platform that's like that big.
Were
Oh man,
you were
but
you leather or vinyl?
yes.
Okay.
Whatever I could get. My work shoes that I would call my work shoes, the ones I wore the most, were just like, they're like thigh high, vinyl, like black vinyl, or like the patent leather, whatever the hell they were, pleasers, and those are the ones that I wore the most because they were good, they fit good, they were trusty, they were strong.
Do your knees, I mean, is it like putting a belt around your knees walking? I mean, I've
Kind
I've been interested, but they don't make them for people my size.
Yeah, no, I mean, it all like, those ones are hard to size, at least because like, yeah, like, because the size of your leg actually matters in those,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
when so you a lot of times you don't think like, "Oh, yeah, like, when I'm getting a thigh-high boot, the size of my thigh matters,"
Yeah.
in that. Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't do a whole lot of them. I did more knee-high stuff than thigh-high
Okay.
because, yeah, I mean, and I'm not quite as tall as you. I'm 6'2", so, like
Okay.
but so, like, not quite as tall,
I feel
but yeah,
like
so
six
shoe
foot
shopping
two
was
is like right still in the human range where they don't start
it's
treating you weird. You know, it's before the conversations that you have to have about your height with everyone, you know.
Do you have to do you have to duck to like walk under like door frames and stuff? Like,
Um,
is it that much of an issue?
it's not, I'm 6'5". Um, I'm a little bit taller than that. Actually, I just have always lied and said I'm 6'5". But it's to the point where like when I date someone, I have to wonder if it's we're actually dating or if they just have a height fetish and I'm the
Ah,
best they can do. That was
that
a lot
sucks.
of, yeah, it's, well, I don't date anymore whatsoever. I'm done dating. I'm
Fair enough.
done romantic. I'm done with all of that stuff now, pretty
Fair
much.
enough.
But it's enough.
Whatever's best for you.
Man, I'm just happy being on my own, renting a room in a house with people that are never home in another country. But yeah, I'm tall enough where it's problematic for clothing, which is why she worked so hard on me. Problematic enough where being 6 foot, I feel like anything above 6'3" is where you start getting into everything in your life having to be custom. Like I've never
Sure.
had a bed that my feet stay on. Like
Oh,
it's always been ankles off. I don't know. There's
and then I imagine too, like it could get difficult, like not only the height, but like pro proportions. Like, are your arms long? Like, is your height mostly in your legs and mostly in your torso? Like, how does that affect like what
yeah,
different clothing
everything.
fits what and sizing and
So I used to wear pleats in my pants, right? That's how old
okay.
fashioned I was. Do people know what pleats are still?
I
I
mean,
don't
I
think
know
they
what a
put
pleat
pleats
is.
in
I
pants anymore. Um, one of the first switches that I had to make was not wearing pleats in my pants anymore because she was like, and you haven't. At that time, I had like a well sculpted ass. Uh, and she was like, you look like it's two sausages, like walking around with those pleats in there. She was like, why aren't you showing anything off? And I was like, okay, so show me. So she showed me straight legs, slim fits for pants and everything. And
yeah.
that was a life changer for me. So it's enough where, yeah, your cut has to change depending on your height, your brands have to change.
Yeah, I'm still playing with trying to dress myself again. I mean, because
Really?
like, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not super recent anymore, but like, I'm still like, it takes a while to rebuild your wardrobe, but like, a lot of my wardrobe is left over from when I was like over 300 pounds, and so like,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
dropped like a considerable amount of weight, like 130 some odd pounds.
Considerable? That's like
Yeah, so it's like it's a
that's-
new, and then on
you've
top
lost
of so like
one Sonderlust.
oh my goodness. No, I love her. But so I mean that guess so that and so if clothing is fitting different and then so like losing that weight, trying to find new clothes to fit that body. And then as I've been going to the gym, like my weight is staying the same pretty much, but like clothes are
The
still
shape
fitting
changes.
different because the shape changes. And it's just like, ugh. So that's why like you see most like these tank tops have been it. Like it's just like especially
They
for the
look
summer,
great.
it's like let me just get something that is easy and that will be tight, I guess. Like
Well,
show off.
I mean, that's a cut that looks great on you.
Well, thank
I
you.
mean, I've pretty much seen you damn near naked now, so I
I
can.
mean,
Sorry to
touche.
objectify you, but
I
I
mean,
feel like you're for what you have as a transitionatory time. I think you found a really good style that works for both your comfort and fix. How has
well,
all of
thanks.
this affected you? Because you're a very no, I'm gonna say something like it's a fact, even though it's you. I feel like you're a very visual person in life. The way you frame
Oh,
photos is very well done.
Oh, well,
I've
thank
seen where
you.
you live is very aesthetic. It seems like you put a lot of thought into your surroundings. So, how
Can't
difficult
you
is this?
tell?
Yeah, well, not in your drag room, but everywhere else. How is the weight and all of these fluctuations? How has it affected you both? I guess mentally and just
Oh
fashion wise.
man, well, it's a loaded question because it's
Yeah, I'm terrible.
because
I do that all the time.
oh, no, like, you're g I've only briefly talked about some of this in the past, but, like, so this weight loss journey, I've done it twice. So,
Okay.
like, the in to that extreme both times, like, that much
Hmm.
weight, like, lost it, gained it all back, and then lost it all again, and now I'm here. So I've done this
Okay.
twice, and the first time that I did it was not a healthy way. It was
Okay.
like I fell into some eating disorder, and it was not
Amphetamine.
no,
Were you
it was
chemically
no
doing it too, or?
no, it was no
Oh,
drug or
okay.
anything. I
I
didn't
did
do
that.
any of that. I mean that stuff, it still scares me. It scared me even then. It was mostly it was like it was eating disorder based, and it was just very like getting
Yeah.
I was obsessed. It was like every calorie, like that was my thing with it. It was like I was upset. Every moment of every day was spent thinking about every single calorie that went in and every single calorie that I was being burned. And if I ate this many calories, that I needed to do this much in my workout to make sure that like it was obviously looking back, it was unhealthy because like I was constantly obsessed with like whatever I was eating, I had to make sure that it was all burned. I had to end at a net zero. And
Yeah.
and that
I
was
know it's an eating disorder to you, but it's where I'm at right now, trying to work through my own body issues.
oh
That's
well.
I'm fighting it too. So if you got any suggestions to not think like that,
I
go
mean,
right ahead.
I know it's hell, I know, and I don't I wish I had, like, a better, like, answer for you, but, like so, like, I like, that because what I was running all of that all the way up until the pandemic, and so, like,
Okay.
to kinda to wrap it in with, like, fashion and stuff like that, it was, like, the timing of it all was all very weird because, like, it was like my career was going well, and then I was also discovering drag for the first time, like, I was in you know, the earlier parts of my relationship that I mean, I'm still in, but the earlier parts
Congrats,
of
by the way.
thanks,
Congrats.
thank you. But, it was like some of the earlier stages of that. It was like I was doing well in my career, I was starting drag for the first time, I had just lost all of this weight, so I
Hmm.
was, like, figuring out drag fashion and playing with my femininity at the same time as trying to like also figure out what my presto fashion was. So like a lot of
Hmm.
that fell to the wayside, to be honest, because I was also so focused on like Bridget, my drag persona, and more like women's clothes, like how she was gonna look and how she was presented. I was
Yep.
way more concerned with her. So my stuff, I was not really like I pretty much just had. I mean, it's funny enough, not super far off to what I wear now, I guess, but like it was pretty much like what I wore to the gym was what I wore when I wasn't in drag. It was like I was gym clothes, and then I mean, sure, work clothes to my job, it was like, you know, slacks and a button down, but that was it.
Yeah.
I worked at an
Was it
office and
was it easier, I guess, to explore the femininity with all the all the changes and everything, and you just didn't
oh,
focus on the
yeah.
masculinity at all?
Yeah, well, and, like, cause part of my reasoning for starting or, like, not reasoning, but part of, like, why I started my drag career when I did, cause like, I had in my head, like, the picture of Bridget O'Toole, she looked a very certain way, and,
Yeah.
like and I could and until I could achieve that, I was like, "I'm not doing it." Like, I was like, she is a certain way, and, like,
Yeah.
that's my little character, I'm not changing her." Like,
Yeah.
I'm very
That's your
stubborn,
vision board.
yeah, that I guess that's the Taurus in me, I suppose, like, stubborn, and with it, I was like, "This is who," like, I and so when I finally achieved that, I was like I'm sure, like, that looking back at it now, that probably fueled some of it too. I was like, I got there, got to where I was like, "Oh, yes, oh my god, this is her," like, I achieved and, like, I was it was hourglass, like, it
Mhm.
was like, I would do the whole thing, and even every time I was in drag, I would dance and all of it in there, I was completely cinched, like, corseted down, padded out, like, would cinch down to a 26 waist and pad
That's a
out.
hell of a cinch. That's a hell
Yeah.
of a cinch. Were you cinched and tucked?
Oh, I didn't do tucking. Oh, no, none
Okay.
of that.
Okay. I was gonna say,
No.
because you can't tuck if you cinch,
No,
because
no, no,
putting
I
everything
never
sort of up
I
inside you
never
doesn't.
No, no, no. I never once did that. I did what, I saw Alaska Thunderfuck would say that she would do it, that she called it monster mash, and that was what I would do. It was like, I would, because I would wear, like, with my padding and stuff, I'd wear 5 pairs of tights, like, and not just, like, yeah, it was the
Oh,
ballerina tights, like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
the
the
like, the
compression
opaque,
ones.
like, the
Yeah.
compression one, and 5 of those.
Ooh.
So, and, to make, and a lot of that was, like, the first couple were, of course, to, like, help smooth and compress things out, and then, like, you
Yeah.
layer in the padding and do a couple of those layers, and then a couple more on top to smooth out the padding so you don't see,
Okay.
like, where the padding is. So, like, you create the illusion that it's a, so, like, and I was able to do it to where I could wear, like, revealing things. It was, like, just a matter of, like, I would have my, even with my corset, I would have, like, the Spanx or, like, the spandex or whatever, like, tucked into the corset so I could have, like, a bra on and, like, have something so I could still, like, show, like, some midriff, like, my cinched midriff, and it was still, like, my flesh color, but it
Okay.
was still cinched and everything. So, but yeah,
Wow.
I know I'm completely going on
No, no,
tangent
no, no.
now,
You're
but
talking. Sorry, I don't care about the listeners at this point because I worked with shapewear and cinching and all of this stuff, and I did it all for women. I never did it for men. So hearing this stuff it's actually amazing the way that you used it
Well, and I
way
would use,
better
like,
than they did.
my corsets were not like, I still use them, and I'll swear by this corset brand. Orchard Corset is the brand that it's the only function corsets I would use, because I would get, like, little fashion ones on Amazon or wherever, like, if it matched whatever my look was. But for my base shape, it was always Orchard Corset, and I believe it was, like, the number, like, 411 or something like that, but they were mesh. So, like, which
Okay.
I loved, like, because I mean, wore them as true undergarments, and I know technically you're not supposed to put it on bare skin or whatever. I
Do
would.
whatever. Yeah.
I would just put it on my bare skin, cinch that fucker right on up, all the way up to
Yep.
26, and
That's such I just flinch thinking about it because I wonder, did you push everything with those ones? So like, okay, I worked with a lot of women with corsets, so the focus was either sort of pushing the chest up and in, or bringing the rib cage together. So were yours more rib
well,
cage in?
Yeah, well, because I also, I guess, yeah, like, I just, it's obviously I didn't have anything up here.
Yeah.
Mine, like, I was not even really focused. It was all under my rib cage, I guess, technically. So, like,
Okay.
because my corsets, they were all under bust, so, like, they all only went to, like, just they would all sit right under my ribs, and it would,
Okay.
so, like, they were, like, very very midriff. So, like, I was literally just getting, and I mean, I'll stand up a little. You can still kind of see my body is still shaped from them,
Yeah,
from,
yeah,
like, all
yeah, yeah.
wearing
And
it
it
all of,
stays for permanent. Yeah, people
yeah.
don't understand that that stuff can be permanent.
And so, like, that's been another fun thing, like, like, after, like, doing all the corseting, then gaining all the weight back, and then some after the
Oh
effects of
man.
all the corseting. And so, like,
You
the gaining the
still have
weight in
an
a
hour
different
left.
way,
Yeah.
and then, like, now losing it all again. I'm just like, that's a
Did it
whole
did it push
body self-love thing.
did it push it more? Sorry, I'm gonna ask then.
Oh,
Ah, I
yeah, no, go
shouldn't
for
ask the
it.
question. Did it when you gained everything back after the core setting, did you become more like pear and apple shaped? Or
Um,
was there different distribution
it
of the
It
weight?
it all pretty much, like, if I remember, it all pretty much came back in, which is weird, in, like, the same spots,
Uh-huh.
except for
Right
like,
there.
right there, and even, like, it's still, like, like, weight still, like, happened there. It was so bizarre, like, it was, but you could always tell that there was, like, a little nip. So even at my heaviest, like, I still had, like, my body still
Yeah.
just, like, did that, like, the
Yep.
contours of it just kinda did that,
Man.
and obviously still do that, and there's nothing I'm gonna, it's an interesting gimmick, 'cause it's that mixed with, like, the loose skin that I'm just never gonna, it's whatever, it's fine.
I mean, do you feel self-conscious about that? Because like, I don't feel I feel like it's the same as a scar. It's a story about who you are.
Oh, yeah, and I've got that too. I mean, like, I don't, I mean, I used to, not as much anymore, but, like, you could tell, like, it's a double whammy. Like, if you look at many of my it's like, because I have a vertical scar on top
Hmm.
of my loose skin, because my appendix
Oh
ruptured
man,
when I was in high school. So I've
I
got,
did
like,
not
that
notice that.
scar from that, and then so all of, yeah, so that it's, a whole thing, but I don't even
acceptance
remember what the
thing.
question was at this
It's
point.
at this
We were
point it
talking
doesn't.
about cinching and corseting and all of that, but oh, we were
Well,
talking about
before
fashion.
that, we were talking about, yeah, your journey is you didn't explore the masculinity side at all because Bridget was like your focus.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you gonna try it now? Because there's a lot more options. This is a time of
Oh,
freedom in male dressing.
yeah, and I'm kind of trying to start looking at like but the way I'm trying to approach it and like I kind of have like where I'm at my I guess like a fashion wise and just kind of like headspace wise is that like cuz also like I don't really have any intentions on returning to drag in any like significant, meaningful way like I did
Okay.
before. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not getting rid of my stuff or anything. Like, I mean, I'll put some of it in storage, I'm sure, but like, I'm not going to go back to like 3 to 5 shows a week like I was doing before. Like, I'm not going to go back to
Yeah.
being a professional drag queen like I was.
Yeah. No.
That was too much. And also, I'm like, different person now, kind of. But anyway, so like, I'm thinking I'm still gonna keep like pieces of Bridget. I'm gonna keep and incorporate her into me, which I kind of
Mhm.
still am. I mean, like the whole
Mhm.
nails thing, I didn't do that before. Like that, I feel
Mhm.
like is like a lingering thing. Like I didn't because before drag, this wasn't a part of my aesthetic, and now this is a part of my personal fashion forever. Like I
Mhm.
always will
Yeah.
have the fun nails, and then like, um, I'm struggling. I want to be able to get like good basics. I don't I wanna try to avoid fast fashion is what like, how I'm
Good.
in the process of building
Good.
up, like, my own personal style, and I wanna,
Mhm.
like I wanna avoid not like I wanna avoid trends for trend's sake is where I'm at trying to be at personally, is,
Good.
like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
there's something that's trendy that I actually like and that I'm gonna keep and adopt into my, like, permanent personal style, that's one thing, but, like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to avoid, like, trends for trend's sake, and then I want good clothes that'll last me a long time, but that are also
Yes.
timeless. I feel like I'm trying to check all the boxes, but
Okay, so
also
there's the
something
easy
that flatters me and that, like, I could show off what I've been working on and, like, it's all I have a long
there's
laundry list.
a very easy way to accomplish what you're doing, which is something that I personally do. Um, all of my clothing now is hand-me-downs. My grandfather was 6'2", and I just had everything tailored, let out. Like I like older clothing, but with what you're looking to do is you get your basics down, right? And then
Mhm.
you add your trends on top of it.
Okay.
So you get, let's say you get one suit and two shirts, right? Your suit is what should be classical. Like you find something that's like maybe a modern cut, but the suit, let's say, is your classical piece. Well, you follow trends then with your shirt. You follow trends with the jewelry that you put on. You follow trends with your socks and shoes, but you
Mhm.
keep your most expensive pieces as sort of the timeless pieces and you make them adaptable. Getting adaptable cuts, I mean, honestly, this is again, this is me overstepping boundaries, I'm sure, but you would look amazing in the old British cut suits,
The old
like
British cut
the
suit.
like the
Okay.
really old multiple pocket,
Oh.
slim fit, almost mod suits, like with they
Hmm.
make them in amazing color ranges for you that you can match your nails and you can match to your tattoos and everything.
Oh my
But
god,
like
fun.
you could do that without even a shirt on underneath it since you have tattoos and everything to show, and maybe have the sleeve an inch or so shorter so you can still wear your bracelets and have your tattoos peeking out and stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
You could do that and
I'm
do no socks and do a nice slip-on shoe, brown leather or so the
ooh.
yeah, right? Like you find your classic pieces, and if you want to reverse it, where you make your shirts the thing that's classical, right? You just don't wear it with the classical suit unless you're going to like a rally or like something
Yeah.
right wing, you know?
Trying to really button up.
Yeah. Um, if you're gonna follow trends, you make sure that your shoes never follow the trend then. That you go with like
Ah,
a classical male black suede, brown patent leather, two buckles, like or maybe if you still like heels, like a slight a dress boot,
okay.
uh proper fitting pants, and then everything else can follow the trends. So then you can
Hmm.
put on, if you don't have a jacket or anything over it, you can then put in whatever jewelry you want to show up. I'm looking at myself in the camera. I know that they're not going to see it, and I look like garbage,
You
and
do
you
not.
look amazing. No, I just got off of work. I have aluminum in my hair. I have a side part. My beard is gross because I got fat and I'm uncomfortable with myself right now. And I'm telling you how to dress. So right now, I'm like, if I didn't have the expertise, I'd want to kill myself
Oh,
for the way I'm
stop it.
speaking. But yeah, there's ways, but overall, I found that men's fashion isn't as fast. The turnover is not
Yeah.
every season.
Yeah, because like now that you mentioned, like I guess like trends, at least like in the way of like the super super fast like turnover trends, are all they seem to be more like women's based or like I guess
Yeah,
feminine
yeah,
based,
yeah.
quote
There's
unquote.
actually uh, there's actually a huge problem that people don't know about that I learned in fashion, which is women's clothing. There's no shortage of donations. Men's clothing, because it doesn't change as much, they have problems all the time. There's never enough male
Mm,
clothing donated besides t-shirts that fall apart. And the t-shirts that they do get most times have holes in them or they're falling
right.
apart or all of that. So men's fashion, it doesn't change that much when you're stuck in the trap of it to the point where like people don't even donate their clothes for 20 years because shit just comes back every 3 years with men's fashion.
Yeah.
There's not many changes. But that's why it's really important as a man to learn to escape that trap
Yeah.
and show the world who you are a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to play. I mean, because like I don't. I also like. I don't. I would definitely not. I don't have a whole lot of occasions to wear suits too. I mean, I
Yeah.
I have some. I have.
I'll wear it to anything.
I mean, fair. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's something I should. That's something to adopt. Like
Try it.
just because
I'm
I
telling you.
have like I have two suits that I got like when I was interviewing for corporate America, which I actually think I
Okay.
haven't put on in a while. Because like I mean, I'm sure I could fit into them again because I got them when I
Hmm.
was like before gaining all the weight back. Like I'd
Hmm.
freshly lost everything, got these suits tailored, and I got one. I got a blue one and a gray one.
Okay.
So, and but like I don't even know what cuts they are. Like they're very basic. It was literally like a buy one get one type of I think men's warehouse. Like I needed something. I was young. I mean,
I still have never been treated as well as I got treated in life when I wore, because I would just wear it anywhere. It didn't matter what I was doing. I would wear this. I would wear a nice suit, well cut. My my fingernails would be painted to a matching color. Okay.
mhm.
I would have nice silver jewelry on, my stags. I have two stags that sit in the collar and there's a chain that goes between them.
Oh,
And I would
cool.
wear that anywhere. If I was going out to get a sandwich for lunch or coffee, I can't tell you how many compliments I got where I was just like, oh my God, men don't get compliments. So if you if you're like starved for it, we'll do something about it and take a chance. And the great
The
thing about
nails
men's
get
oh,
so many.
oh man, mine weren't even done well. Mine were just like purple and I chew my nails and everything. But I would be at like a kickboxing class and people would be like, what's up with your nails? And I'd be like, I can kick your ass, so you don't have to ask that shit. Because once I'm out of here and I look like the way I used to look, like you'll understand why I do it. Because man, it's so nice to have people notice you. Like
Sure.
people don't understand. It's not like attention. Every guy I know will be like, well, I haven't been complimented or gotten flowers or yada yada. And it's like, yeah, well, when have you done anything that would let people know you're vulnerable or expressive enough to compliment you or to buy you flowers?
Yeah,
Like
I mean
there's
it sucks that that's where we're at, but like that. But yeah.
it's really it's kind of where we're at in life. But like when I always I'm in my workwear now and I'm trying to learn how to make workwear look good. I got to mask a little bit at my job, you know. I can't
Sure.
you can't let the freak flag fly there. But
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
trying to figure out your own expression is something that I don't think men take time for. They put on a collared polo and a pair of the same cut of jeans that they've worn since they were 17, and then they
Ugh.
wonder why no one looks or no one compliments, and it's because you're walking like you're wearing the same thing you've worn since you were 17, you know?
Yeah, I try to switch. Thankfully, like my job is like I still work in an office setting, but I mean I'm a little bit higher up than I once was, and also like thankfully they don't care like there aren't like gendered dress code or anything like
Yeah,
that. So like
yeah.
I'll wear my and like the dress code's like business casual. So like it's a pretty lenient dress code even for not like we could wear jeans
Hmm.
any day of the week like if you
Yeah.
want like it's like a pretty laid back office. It's pretty much just like you have to have a logo on. So like one of their
Yeah.
like either like one of the things that they have made with the embroider logo or you could wear whatever you want if it's but you have like a little pin. So I have like a silver logoed pin that I'll just put on like
Okay.
whatever I wear
When
it.
you said logoed, I didn't realize you meant company logo because my offices were logoed, but it was
Oh,
like,
no. It's the company logo is
okay.
a silver pin of my company's logo.
Okay.
Yeah, but, so, like, I'll wear, like, my favorite, like, to wear, like, in is, like, my heeled, paint Converse. I've posted about
Hmm.
those, but, like, those are my fa I like wearing those, or, like, if it's colder, like, I'll wear, like, my favorites that I'll have is, my cardigans that are, like, floor length that are, like and so, like, walking into the office, like, they just billow in the way it's like you can't not draw attention, like, I can't, like, it's fun.
Are they the big comfy ones where you look like you're supposed to have a cup of sleepy time tea when you walk in the room, or are they
No,
like
they're the,
flowy
like,
like a cape?
flowy like a cape, like a
Oh,
like, it's very, like, thin, like, because like,
yeah.
they don't do a whole lot for warmth, it's mostly just, like, it's for funsies, like, it's for the whimsy, it's for the drama.
Ah, that's no, that's wonderful to have. At least you're working for a company with freedom like that. I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many. One of the reasons, well, I was removed from my industry, but towards the end, one of the things that was driving me insane was I did event coordination for people and everything, and people
Mhm.
would literally walk up and they would, without asking, they would undo your buttons, open your jacket, and see what the logo was, or they would check your collar before they'd even speak to you.
Shut up.
Yeah, dude, it's so messed up at the high levels that I ended up.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I was fly on the wall for a lot of stuff, but then when I started striking out on my own and getting people, it was to even be spoken to. I had to have like I have a Hugo Boss
That
Red Label, Slim
uh-huh.
Fit, which is a very expensive suit. Uh, that was what I had to walk around in, and that was like me being like the lowest level. They were like Hugo Boss, Red Label, Slim Fit. Two
Like,
seasons
that was, like,
ago,
the
they were
bare
like,
minimum.
yeah, that was a bare minimum to not get asked to get coffee for someone at events and in certain offices.
What the hell? That is
Yeah,
so cutthroat.
dude, I worked with Chobani for a while. Okay. And
Mhm.
Chobani had given stuff for events. And one of the things that I did was I worked on a very prestigious floor of a very prestigious building. So I went down to the floor below to give out free Chobani because honestly, what do fashion and PR and marketing girls love more than yogurt? I don't know why. They love Chobani. It's their jam. And I was
They
like,
loved it.
cool. I'm gonna go talk to some other coworkers and everything. And I walked down to the floor below me, and that mattered where I was, what floor you were on. The fact that I came down to talk to them, I was told that was acceptable, that you could pretty much just walk right into any office below you on the other floors because of
Oh,
who I
wow.
was working with. He owned the building, and so I went down and I was handing them, and a dude walked right up to me and did a suit check and told me to get the F off his floor because it was only like a couple $1,000 suit. Yeah, he called me some choice words.
Jeez.
And I was like, you know what? Let me tell you to go F yourself. And then I found out who he was, and I went, I don't want to get murdered today, so I'm not going to do that.
That
But
is ridiculous.
well, it's working couture. If I'd stayed just in departmental brands and everything, I'm sure my life would have been a lot different. I'm sure I probably would have stayed in the industry, met some really nice, kind people. But I
But I
guess the
mean,
lesson is never reach for the top. Don't do it ever
unless you're
for
willing to
anyone.
do, I guess unless you're willing to do what it takes to be at the top, like that.
Yeah. Oh, and let me tell you something. There's things that I will never talk about at the top. There are
Fair
things that
enough.
I will just never talk about that you say you're ready for until it's in front of you, you know?
Fair enough.
And it's
Uh,
never what you think it's gonna be,
Gosh, that's spooky. That's
right?
spooky.
Isn't it? That's what I like to lead
Well,
people on.
yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, I'm glad that we managed to get there in the end because that was gonna be kind of be like my because I look at the time now, like it was probably about time to wrap up. But
Yep.
like, I'm glad that we got because that was gonna be my final like what made you like kind of exit and like step out of that and that you we got there. So wild, but like,
Yeah. I mean, I can, if you want to cut it up, I can add other stuff if it's just the ending, but yeah, I think
uh,
that, I don't know, I feel like that was
oh
pretty
no,
good for an ending.
we're this has been fabulous, and like I do
Wonderful.
want like I want to thank you again for joining me and like it's been so great. I mean, we could I mean this is I'm not even gonna do like a probably a solo portion of this one. If and this may just
Really?
be the our whole thing, like because we have been go like we don't normally go this long on the guest portion, like but this has been fun. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you and hearing a lot of your background and your story. Very cool stuff. Like
Super happy, man. I mean, it's crazy and it's wild to hear about, but I'm a dude who lived it and now I'm just a fabricator. I just put stuff together in metal now because I burnt out. Just don't
that.
forget. One thing don't forget. Take take my real name out. Okay? I'm
Oh yeah, no,
Brad.
I got you. I got you.
I
I
can't
will.
I can't get doxxed. I
Yeah,
can't get doxxed. If
I
people
got you.
find out my real name, oh my God, I'm fucked.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's bread. Bread like the
It's Brad. Brad, actually.
like
It's Brad.
wonder. It's Brad.
Yes. It's Brad. I tell everyone honestly, it's like it's I tell everyone that I developed it that I popped out of nowhere, but in 2013 I was like I'm getting all these other people famous. I want to get myself famous. And the stuff that is linked to my real name is I don't want it getting brought up.
Fair enough.
Society will kick me out. I'll get found out and I would be lynch mobbed for the stuff that my real name can be connected to.
Oh well.
So I
Oh,
developed a second name for all of this stuff where I won't be murdered.
fair enough. Well, I will make sure to cut it out. I mean, because you only
Awesome. I really
mentioned
appreciate
the
it.
like your first name the one time, and I will cut
Yeah,
it out.
yeah. I'm usually pretty good about that, but now you know my secret. Even like the people that I'm close to on Threads don't know
Well,
my
I
real
mean,
name.
I will tell you, I like the second once I edit it out, it's gonna I'll forget it.
Okay, perfect.
Like
Oh, all right.
my
That's fine too. I
I
thought we
mean,
had a
like,
special bond.
well, if I'm not gonna be referring to you as it all the time,
You'll forget it.
it's gonna fall out of my. Of course, I say
Perfect.
that now, but now I'm not gonna. Well,
Forget it. Let's end the
anyway.
conversation there and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, where can the divas find you? What like this is the like right before we wrap up. Like where do you want to be found? Is there anything that you're wanting to share? Plug. This is.
It is threads only you'll find me on because I'm done with the Bird app. I'm done with Instagram. All of them are falling apart. I have a book out. I wrote it years and years and years ago, but now it's been so long that I actually get 100% of the proceeds from it.
Oh hell yeah.
So you can find it on Skyhorse Publishing, Brett Foster. It's called Dude Bro, the How to College Guide Your Parents Don't Want You to Have, which rolls right off the tongue.
I
They
love that.
butchered it. They butchered the book, but it's basically it's an entire thing that's it's just making fun of what you're supposed to do in college that Porky's and like Animal House and Maxim magazine and stuff is what I was fed when I was younger. So I wanted to do a parody of Tucker Max. It's
This
that.
sounds like a riot of a read for someone like me.
Eh, it's pretty. fun. The first entire chapter is about the first time you see your own father's penis. So
Oh, great.
it
Okay,
really,
great.
it's really, really subversive comedy. It was
Yeah,
meant that
wow.
frat brothers would see it on the shelf and buy it and have no idea that the first chapter was like talking about seeing
Got
your own
'em.
father's penis.
Wow, a
Yeah.
good old bait and switch.
All
But
right,
okay, so
man.
you got that book and you got your threads. All right, well, thank you again for joining me and hanging out and wow, it was fun. I'll see you in the threads, Floyd.
Awesome, man. I will see you later.
Alrighty, bye, Divas.